In this video, we're going to take a look at activity 1.3.4, specifically looking at steps 14 through about 28. So, and with that, we're going to be looking at modeling the screwdriver base that we see in that activity. I'm going to go ahead and select Create and select a new Onshape document. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and open up our folder. And inside of this, we're going to go ahead and name this screwdriver base and select Create. With this, we're going to go ahead and start off by creating a new sketch on the top plane. I'm going to right click on these hide all planes, and we're going to go ahead and press the N key to turn the sketch plane normal to our view. And we're going to go ahead and start off with a circumscribed polygon. So with the center right at the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and draw out a shape like this. We're going to turn this to a pentagon. And I'm just going to go ahead and click to go ahead and right click actually and say escape. And we're going to go ahead and change a few things here. I'm going to go ahead and select the horizontal constraint. Select the bottom line so that way the point will be up toward the top. And we're going to actually dimension the edge of this bottom to be 1.125, and that's going to fully constrain our sketch. Once we're finished with that, we can go ahead and finish it. I'm going to right click and select isometric, and we're going to go ahead and extrude this shape to a thickness of 0.0625. So inside the depth, 0.0625. If I click there, there's where we're showing. We're also going to apply a taper angle. It's going to have a 45-degree taper angle, or in Onshape they call this a draft. So I'm actually going to type 45 and hit enter. You're going to see that as I kind of rotate this around, it kind of flares out. So positive numbers will make the draft kind of flare out. If I want to go opposite direction, we actually want to go inward with it, and that's exactly what we're looking for. 45-degree angle kind of going inside, or a draft I should say, to kind of go in there. Alright, so let's go ahead and select the green check mark. There it gives us our starting solid. I can go ahead and put this back in isometric view. I'm going to go ahead with this part, right click on it and say edit appearance. We're going to go ahead and select red, so all the newest Craftsman screwdriver bases show up as red. If you want to make it blue, that's fine as well. So that's some of the older style ones, but the newest ones kind of show off with these with this red color to match the branding. So I'm going to go ahead and now select extrude. I'm going to click the top surface of this polygon, and we're going to extrude that to a depth of 0.75. We're going to have another draft on it. It will be a 10-degree taper, and again we're going to go in the opposite direction to go inward, so then that way, because that's kind of the movement that we're going there. Go ahead and select that green check mark to apply that. So now we're going to go actually up here to, we have an offset, we have plane that we can do, and we're going to offset this plane. So I'm going to select the top surface of there. The offset distance is going to be 0.125, 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to go ahead and select the green check mark to accept that plane. So you can kind of see, if you rotate down, there's the work plane, there's the top of where we were. We got that 1/8 of an inch distance between the two. I'm going to select a sketch, select plane 1, press the N key to change to that, and here we can always just kind of double check. I'm going to use the line tool, and first off, I want to reference these edges of this pentagon to make sure that the origin is directly in the center. So it usually is, but just to make sure, because some of the taper angles, it could be off by a little bit. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Use Project option, and I'm just going to click inside of this shape, and you're going to see we get some bolded lines, black lines that come up around the outside edge. So now I can escape from utilizing the Use or Project command, take my line tool, and I can find now that I can find the midpoint of this. So I'm going to draw a line right down here to the center. I'm going to do the same thing off of this one, down to this point, from the midpoint. And I'm just going to make sure that all of these are going to cross, and that we have the exact geometric center for our shape. and it looks like everything is going to be really good. I'm going to go ahead and escape the line tool. Now, I want to use these as construction lines, so I'm actually going to just go around and select all of these lines. And on the last one, once I have it selected, I'm going to right click and select construction. So that way that we can do that. We're going to go ahead and create a center diameter circle, or center point circle, right off of that center point. And it's going to be a, once we go ahead and select to place it, 1.10 inch diameter circle. I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch. Place this in isometric view. I'm going to go ahead and choose the loft command. With the loft, it's asking for with the solid we're going to add. So the profiles we're going to look at are going to be, I'm going to select the top surface of, so I have to kind of rotate in here and select that top surface. Face of extrude 2 is what it shows for the profile. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select the circle. And you're going to see what will happen is now that'll build up and create that lofted feature. And I'm going to go ahead and select the green check mark to apply that loft. We'll go ahead and hide plane 1 by going here to the browser and clicking on the eyeball icon to hide it. Put this back in isometric view. Then we're going to take a look at filleting the edges. I'm going to choose the fillet command. The radius we're going to put on here is going to be 0.2. And I'm going to go around and I'm going to click on each one of these edges here to apply to my screwdriver base. So I'm just going to rotate around. Should be 5 total to apply. And once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and select the green check mark. So that'll apply those fillets that we're looking for. To create the rest of this, I'm going to go ahead and extrude this top circle by a distance of 0.5. And we're going to draft this with a 2 degree taper angle. And again, instead of flaring out, we actually want it to flare inward. So we're actually going to reverse that direction. So you see now it's going to flare in, and you can kind of see the silhouette of where it would be if we didn't draft that or taper it. But let's go ahead and select the green check mark once we have that where we want it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to fillet this edge on the top. And you're going to see that it's going to apply this kind of distance. Actually, we want that to be a 0.03125. And you can kind of see the adjustment that it makes. But it allows to pick up around all the entire edges. And I'm just going to go ahead and select the green check mark to apply that. Just to show you right now, with this screwdriver base, I'm going to rotate down below. And I'm going to use something called the shell command. So the shell command, it's asking for faces to remove, and then what's the shell thickness. So our shell thickness we're going to apply is 0.06. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select the bottom to remove. And you're going to see this is what the shell does, is it just removes all that material on the inside and leaves a thickness of 0.06 around all the faces, around all the thickness of the parts. So I'm going to go ahead and select the shell command to accept it. However, one of the things we might want to do is if we don't want to, if we ever need to get rid of a feature, notice it's over here in the browser. I actually want to get rid of that and then bring it back later. So I'm going to right click on shell 1 and just say delete. And you'll notice that we'll get our solid model part back. We'll go ahead and put this back in isometric view and just rotate down a little bit, because the next part is we're going to extrude the bottom to a thickness of 0.0625. And we're going to have a draft of 3 degrees. In this one, actually, we do want to have a positive. We want it to flare out, because if we reverse it, you can see it kind of comes inward on the bottom. We actually want it to flare outward to give us more of that steady base piece that we're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and select the green check mark. That's looking pretty good there. The next part is we have our holes in the top of this base. I'm going to select create a sketch. Choose the top circle face. Press the N key to turn to the top of it. I'm going to go ahead and select a center point circle. Right in the center, I'm going to choose the origin as the center point. And the diameter of this circle is going to be 0.25. And once we have that fully constrained, like so, I'm going to select the green check mark, go to the isometric view. I'm going to extrude that circle. We're going to remove, so it's going to reverse the direction for us. The depth is going to be at 1.325. and we're going to have a draft 2 degrees, and we want to make sure to go the opposite direction. We want it to go inward, so kind of to merge in as we go along. I'm going to go ahead and select the green check mark, so that way we can see that hole in there, and we should see that taper kind of get a little thinner, so as it goes down, because that's going to be what holds our main screwdriver handle in place right in the middle of that. The next thing we're going to take a look at is another sketch on top of the circular face of this. Turning normal to our sketch plane, we're going to do another center point circle right off of the origin. This one is actually going to be a diameter of 0.688. This is just going to help us locate where our circles are going to be, the centers of them. So I'm actually going to right click and say escape circle, right click on the circle itself, and select construction to be able to get that to be a construction circle. We're going to run center point circle once more, and right above our origin I'm going to go ahead and make sure that these meet each other. So I'm going to click to set the center of that circle there. The size of this is going to be 0.125, and you're going to see that once it's fully constrained, you might have to apply a vertical constraint between the center point of this circle to the origin to be able to lock it in place if you're still seeing blue lines for your circle. If not, then we should be good to go with being able to finish the sketch. Turn this to the isometric view. I'm going to extrude this circle. Again, we're going to remove material. And in this case, we're going to extrude this down a distance of 0.5, and we're going to apply a draft angle of 2 degrees. And we are going to go to the opposite directions, that way it goes inward on that particular case. I'm going to select the green check mark. Here's our hole, and same kind of thing, we'll see that taper going to the inside. I'm going to put this in the isometric view, and we're going to go ahead and run the, up here we have the linear pattern. I'm going to click the little drop down arrow, we're going to choose the circular pattern. For circular pattern, we do want to make sure on this one, they say a part pattern. I'm going to click the drop down and choose feature pattern, which since we just went to look at that, it's looking for features to pattern. I'm actually going to go over here to the browser and select extrusion 6. So to make sure that that is the thing that's going to be patterned. And then the axis to pattern, I'm going to have to click on that, and I can actually select on the circle here around that to be able to pattern that around. We're going to have an instance count of 5. And equal spacing, everything should be good. I'm going to go ahead and select the green check mark. That'll pattern in our holes for us. Our last part, before we start getting into some of the detailing, is going to be the shell command once more. So now let's grab that shell command. We'll set the thickness to 0.06. Select the bottom to remove the face, and you can also see what are some of the other features. Here's what it looks like on the inside. So as you kind of take a look at that. So there's kind of the difference as we applied some of those features. I'm going to select the green check mark, go to the isometric view. The last part is going to be to add text to the front of this. I'm going to click on Create New Sketch, select the front face. I'll press the N key to go to normal view to the sketch plane. And I'm going to grab the text tool, and I'll draw a text box right here on the front face. We're just going to utilize the Craftsman brand. So I'll go ahead and type that in and select the green check mark. Notice the size of the text is pretty large, so you can move this around a little bit. I'm actually going to pull this off of this face just to show you. And we're going to use, underneath the patterning tools, we're going to use the transform option. And I'm actually going to use, you're going to notice this vertical line right here. I'm going to select it, and I'm actually going to grab and reduce down the text size. Once I click to change it, you'll see the text gets smaller. So I can kind of see it's not quite fitting in there just enough. Let's go ahead and let's transform that one more time. Choose this top line. I'll bring it in just a little bit. This is looking pretty good. If I grab the top line of this, it's not looking too bad. I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I want this text to be. This looks good. I'm going to go ahead and click on the green check mark to set it there. And then what we can do is we can actually extrude the text. So if I select the text, you'll see here's the lettering. We're going to go a very short amount, 0.002, 2 thousandths, just enough to get some raised lettering. Select the green check mark. There's our kind of text there. I'm actually going to go around and select all the faces of the letters. And one thing we can do here is anything we pick on the last one I'm going to right click and I'm going to say add appearance to 9 faces. And I'm just going to choose the white option and select the green check mark. And you're going to see there's going to be our Craftsman screwdriver case with the detailing that we're looking for. And this will finish out creating that screwdriver base for activity 134 CAD modeling skills.